At Amplify, we've eliminated all banking fees, so you can have a little extra to share the love. No fees equals more puppy love. Amplify.
Hi, my name is Mindy Hofman, and welcome to the Women of Austin podcast, where together we are igniting the power of women's voices. Women of Austin podcast. Today we're going to talk about starting over. Thank you so much for being here, ladies. I found this quote and I wanted to share it with you before we get started. It's from Rochelle Goodrich, and she said, "The direction you choose to face determines whether you're standing at the end or the beginning of a road."
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Wow. I thought that was really powerful, and I wanted to share it with you guys. Now, I know that we've all started over in different ways, and I'd like to kind of talk about that, because people often reinvent themselves or change and do things, and you might not know about it. You see someone where they are today, but you don't know what they've been through on their journey. So I'd just love to learn more about you guys and your journeys and how you've had to start over.
I'm Anne Hudson. I am from Austin, Texas. I'm a radio and television personality, and then I host a podcast. You know, I've been in Austin forever, so to be asked to be a part of this podcast and just talk about all things women, I mean, we need each other, and I just love that, to be recognized and like someone wants to hear what I have to say about it. I love it, so I'm really happy to be here. I think it's great. I think what pops to my mind first is starting over constantly with different phases of my life, like my mentality, how I feel about myself. It's not just career driven. It's literally like how I feel within my soul. Like every baby I had, I've got this whole new body situation. What are we going to do? How are we going to get myself back to feeling like strong, confident, good, like just an overall like vibe internally? And I feel like that has been through my life the biggest challenge of trying to figure out. And it's really the only thing that I've ever felt that I always have to start over with, as far as just like resetting where my mind space is and how I'm feeling with the world, with COVID recently. It just constantly feels like, okay, this is a new situation, and how do you make it better? How do you get over the hump of like not feeling your best in these weird situations? Career-wise, I never really felt like I've ever started over. I always just feel like there's new challenges. That's why I don't really kind of associate that with that. It's fun and exciting for me.
Yes.
So I would say for me, it's just starting over. I feel like I constantly have resets mentally. And just given what it is, whether it's a change in the family or change in finances or, you know, ever-changing body situation. We were just talking about like getting into our 40s and how things shift and you change, and it's trying to figure out where that happy space is for you. And so I'd say that's my big thing. And I feel like I'm still in the process of like learning that in my 40s. I haven't figured that out yet, which we were all just talking about it all there. I'm going to try that. You know, because everything's changing and it's different. So I just think it's important to pay attention to that. It's not always just overt stuff. It's like what you're dealing with internally too. So I'd say that's mine.
I'm Terri Broussard Williams, and I live in Austin, Texas. I am a public speaker, a lobbyist, and an author. I'm excited to be back on today's podcast. In each episode, I discover a new part of Austin and a new face that I haven't seen.
All right, Terri, now speaking of starting over, I know you have your Great Me set that you're working on, and I know you personally have had pretty recently had to start over a little bit. Can you tell us more about that?
And listening to Anne, one thing came to mind and I feel like we had the opportunity to chat before we got started today. And each of our stories, it's almost like we are a snake. I know y'all are afraid of snakes. If you saw the last episode, you know what that is about. But we're shedding our skin little by little, and something beautiful always emerges. And so for me, I've always been incredibly driven, graduated from college in 3 years, started working in a television newsroom, 15, 16, had a full-time job, and then found myself in a situation in 2002 where I was working for an elected official who was running for U.S. Senate, and we lost. And here I am for the first time in my life without a job. And I just got my dream job of being a press secretary, been waiting for that moment. And started lobbying. Never met a lobbyist. Didn't really know what they did. Now I do.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But again, it was that grind, that hamster wheel. And so in 2019, I found myself in this situation where literally someone was looking for a mobile phone, and they threw a couch in the air, and it landed on my head. And I had a really severe concussion and found myself from the sofa in the center of my head to me being centered on the sofa and centering my life.
Oh,
and
wow. Positive way. I would have been like,
well, that's an after clock over cocktails conversation. What happened was. But I had 3 months, no cell phone, no computer, nothing.
Whoa.
And truly had a head start on the pandemic because,
Right.
it was right before we all started quarantining. But I began to understand what it was to really have a me set. And so the world is having this great reset, and I had what I call the great me set, like understanding how to prioritize what matters to you, so work now comes second. And so for me, that was shedding a skin of a work-driven life. I found my purpose in only working, and now I find my purpose within. I say the greatest movements, our greatest work you can do is cultivating that movement within.
My name is Stacy Armijo, and I was born in Des Moines, Iowa. I grew up in Houston, Texas, and now I live in Austin, Texas. By day, I am the Chief Experience Officer at Amplify Credit Union, so that means I get to help people get loans and make deposits in the Austin area and all over Texas. And outside of that, I'm a community volunteer, so I am on the board of directors for a number of nonprofit organizations that serve the Central Texas community, and I speak and talk about optimism, influence, and ambition for women. Being a part of the Women of Austin podcast gives me an opportunity to get to know the amazing women around Austin who are helping to inspire and connect people to new opportunities, and it gives me a chance to reflect on what's important to me and what is it that I want to bring to the table in Austin. And I actually prefer to think of it as starting fresh.
Love it.
So when I think of starting over, it almost implies like what came before was somehow not good. And I don't, that hasn't been my experience, and that's not how I look at the world. I think every experience we had it for a reason. And there was something, maybe we got to enjoy it and it was amazing and it was positive, and then our season of life changed and we went on to some new season.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was really challenging and it was really difficult, but it taught us something.
Yes.
So I tend to have a perspective that each stage is valuable in and of itself. And just because there might have been something good about that, there might have been something positive about it, doesn't mean that the next stage might not be even better.
Yes.
And so sort of having the courage to look to what's next and start fresh. And either by choice, maybe you're gonna make a choice of like, okay, here's what I've done before and I'm ready for something new and I want to do something next. Or it might get thrust upon you like a couch on your head. I mean,
Literally.
it could happen that way.
I believe that.
But yeah. Or in my case, so one of my big pivots was when I got diagnosed with breast cancer. So about a month after my 40th birthday, I got diagnosed with stage 3 invasive breast cancer, and I ended up doing 20 weeks of chemo, surgery, and 6.5 weeks of radiation, which all completed 3 weeks before the pandemic, before we all went into quarantine. So it's been this stretch of like crazy experience that's really like this kind of 3-year thing now. It's not really just not quite 1 year.
Yeah.
So the fantastic news is I am free and clear and all is well, and that is fantastic.
Yes.
And it did, at the time, I actually thought, am I going to have some like epiphany, right? That when you've been through this and you're thinking you want something dramatically different. And part of what I realized was, there's a lot that I love about the way I do things. So like even all the way through treatment, I was very fortunate that treatment was not as hard on me as it is on some people. And so I didn't take a day off of work. I didn't, besides for my surgery, I was able to continue to do what I've done. And I was able to, I'm very lucky. Very fortunate.
Very Stacy thing.
I'm like, what? Did I hear that right?
Well, and it was interesting. I actually ended up writing an article with two friends of mine, Susan Dawson and Fayrouz Ben Youssef, who the three of us co-wrote an article because the three of us went through breast cancer treatment at the same time, and we all happened to also be community leaders in Austin. And our article was basically about please continue to invite women who are in this situation to show up in the world. Because you have been, it's a thing that gets thrust upon you, right? Like nobody chooses that, you just navigate it. And sometimes people immediately, I think out of positive intent, stop inviting you to things. They stop asking you to volunteer for things. They stop asking you for that extra work project. Because they don't want to, burden you, right?
Well, they know you're a
space.
yes person.
Exactly.
I mean, they're trying to do you favors.
Don't let me overextend yourself at a time where you need all of your strength and energy, right?
Yes.
And so it's well intentioned, but it can also be isolating, and it can and especially like everybody's different that way. Everybody wants something different in that moment. I know for me, what I wanted was I wanted to retain the choices that I could. And so some choice had been taken away from me. I didn't want more choices to be taken away. And
right, that makes sense.
I said, give me the chance to say no. Please don't assume the no on my part if it's something that you really want me to be part of.
That's really good advice.
That's
and
great
I think
advice.
such a good message for just other people that have friends going through that. I think that's really powerful advice, and one that friends don't want to ask. I mean, I've had to stand beside friends that are going through things, and it's just, you don't know what to do in those situations sometimes.
Well, and not just for when someone's going through something traumatic, right? We never know the things that are hidden. How many of our friends do we not know were suffering depression during the pandemic? So when you don't give them that choice to do something to fuel their soul, you're taking away something that might really bring them light.
That's awesome.
Thank you. It's so. I think for me, if I prefer the positioning of fresh start.
Yes,
and,
me too.
And I like the idea of expecting something new from us. I do feel like, as much as I hate them, I do feel like this is the shedding of the skin of the snake is a really good
Caterpillar turning into a butterfly.
Butterfly. Thank you. Better. Butterfly.
Yes,
I like that.
yes.
But I think it is. And I love the quote you started with, because it can feel scary. But at the same time, like the beginning of a road is an exciting place to be. The end of a road sounds like a hard place, and it's like just turning around is something new and exciting. So I tend to lean into that a lot, and I tend to think about what is the positive that I am carrying forward, as opposed to what is the thing that I'm leaving behind.
Whew, that's powerful. I just learned so much. So thank you for sharing that with us. One thing with this topic that came up for me for starting over is I started over, and I made a choice to start over. I got a divorce, and I was drinking way, way, way too much. So I quit drinking, and I left my marriage. Now, those were things I didn't have to do. Like, you had to go through chemo and do all those things. And I was so terrified to do any of that. But most of it was because I was ashamed and worried about what other people were going to think about me. And so I just wanted to kind of share that too, where like if anybody's thinking about something like that, like it's okay. Like, it's very scary, but it's so much better.
Yeah, it sets you free. And I think that's one thing I feel like everyone should just be so authentic with things they're going through. Like you're saying, you're ashamed. Yeah. I wish people could just not care about because a lot of people are going through exactly what you're going through. Yeah. Whatever situation it is, but that, I don't know. I have found, like with my platform on the radio, the more authentic and real I am about the things that make me the most uncomfortable to say, so many people can relate to that, and they love that, and it makes you, and I just wish everyone had that, because I am an open book. I legit have no skeletons in the closet, and it's kept me out of therapy. I feel free. I don't feel, you don't feel like you're hiding anything. It's a very freeing feeling. So I'm proud of you for doing that, and I too think that's a great message that you should preach, that when you're in these situations, to not be ashamed of them. You're helping someone by not keeping it in,
Yeah,
It's
I remember
beautiful.
when I first met you, Terri, I was like embarrassed and like afraid to tell you and all my new friends. And then the second I did, you're like, oh, that's amazing. Like, and just the love and the arms just open up and we became closer friends. And that was my experience with all of my friends.
Yes.
There was this moment, I remember it so clearly, like, you know, and Mindy, I just have to tell you, like, you sharing this story is so beautiful. There's so many people that wouldn't talk about this out loud because of shame, because of fear, because others might want to use it in the wrong way, right? They might find power in someone's growth opportunity, and shame on them if they do that. Shame on them. But you did it in such a way where I knew that you cared about me, and it wasn't about judgment. And so oftentimes when, and, you know, and I think this is so relevant for why you have this podcast. When we meet women, we are on edge. We are wondering if they're judging us, if they really want to be our friends. And at that moment, I was like, she really cares about me and wants to show up for me. And that was when I was just like, no, I'm here for you. Like, we're going to do this. But there's this quote that I just see it in your face right now. It's Ella Baker. It's give people light and they will show you the way. And you are doing that for all of us right now. So thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, I
I really mean it. You got getting hit in the head, like you change a whole lot. Stacey has witnessed, like my curves are like, you know, it's this rock, but now they're smooth. And so like, I really didn't talk about my feelings or emotions before. Now, like, I don't care. Girl, I'm proud of you and keep rocking it.
I love it.
Yeah, and there's things that you can, like you guys were talking about, like small changes that you can make and small things that you can do to start fresh.
Yes.
So I think that it's interesting. You can, like, I'm getting inspired now. What can I start fresh on, you know? Like, I could start fresh some of my parenting things that could be improved upon, or, you know, what else can we start fresh upon?
I want to start a fresh journal.
Ooh.
I'm a little bit obsessed with journals, so that's kind of a thing, and I have way more of them than I should. But it is like, when I start a fresh journal, it's sort of like saying, okay, everything that was in this journal, I'm setting that aside now. Like, I always think, I'll go back and read it one day. I've actually never gone back and ever read my journals, but I still keep them though. Yeah. Because it's like, okay, new page, new thing, time for a new, and it's like, that's just a happy moment for me when I open a new journal and there's a happy, fresh page.
Yeah, new pen.
And I have my favorite pen. Yeah. You can hear it on the page.
I love that. I'm envious because I gave up journaling because I found that I only journaled when I was like going through shit. Yeah, you were like, I did like find old ones and I read them and I'm like, that jerk dumped me and this and that. Like I was just like, these are depressing. So I love that. I should start fresh and journal happy things.
There you go.
I tend to only want to write when I'm pissed. And so anyway, that's great. And I should do that.
Last night I did that. I pulled out a new journal page and wrote, it was a great day yesterday. And I was like, I just need to write something because it was a great day.
Oh, I love that.
That's amazing.
Well, and one of the things that I learned in rehab, like, I took it that far, was that you write down when you're pissed off and then you burn it.
Really?
It feels so good.
Yeah, definitely don't save it and reread it 20 years later because it still makes you mad. You can still feel that. You still feel it. So I highly recommend the burning things.
Yeah, just, you know, be responsible. Like, what do you, disclaimer. Like,
Be like, we do this with that fire starter. Now she's burning things. Hashtag fire starter. It's my thing.
Not what I meant when I told you to be a fire starter.
Thank you for that legal clarification.
Can I get two? Oh, and guac.
At Amplify, we've eliminated all banking fees, so you can enjoy more of life's extras. No fees equals more guac. Amplify.
Does your company use Salesforce? If so, you probably know all about the information gaps that are impossible to fix. Well, they're not impossible anymore. Magic Robot connects the gaps in your Salesforce data so you don't have to. Do you feel this pain? Then go to magicrobot.com and get some relief. Hi, my name is Mindy Hofman, and I'm the founder of Women of Austin. At Women of Austin, we have this show, and we have community get-togethers every month in the hopes of getting people together to share their stories and become stronger together. It was important for me to talk about starting over today because it's something that's I've recently done, and that I think it's important to talk about and show and share how we've done it in the hopes of inspiring and motivating others. Today we're shooting at In Cahoots on the east side. They have a rooftop bar opening up soon. They have a pool and really awesome rooms. This is actually a unit that you can stay in here. And we'd really like to thank them for having us today. We're just having a blast being here. And I'm so happy that you, our audience, is here today and become part of the conversation. Like and subscribe and hit that notifications bell so you don't miss an episode. And we want to hear what you have to say in the comments.
So I just want to take a moment to really go inward, right? And so I've been focused on self-love because I even did it with you guys. I haven't accomplished where I am now. I've been on this health journey and making it truly my way of life and not just this blip that I'm doing in a goal. And so I actually put this on last week. It's a necklace that says love. Aww. So I can remember just to love where I am right now. So it's okay. I'm 3 pounds away from that goal weight, and I am going to rock it in a 2-piece when I do. Yay! But for today, I'm going to love where I am and love myself for that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you could rock a 2-piece right now.
There is a pool right there. I was going to say,
all of us.
And speaking of journaling, I just like to say that journaling is the reason we're sitting here right now, was because I just felt stuck and I didn't know what to do. And, I'm working on this book, which is how I met the two of you, which is how I in turn met you. And so I just think that it's so powerful. You can really take the time to sit and get down what you need to do. But the discipline, oh my God, I don't have the discipline for it. It's I date it now, and it's just so scattered. How do you? It sounds like you have the discipline. No.
I don't. No, I journal when I want to journal, and I don't give myself any rules about I should. I should on myself occasionally, but I try not to very often, and I don't at all when it comes to journaling, because for me that would defeat the purpose. So journaling is not I don't owe the journal anything. The journal is a place for me when I want it and need it.
Right. Yeah.
And so I don't buy the journals that have dates on them. Because then you're oh, well, here's how many days I didn't journal, and I'm supposed to do that because it's good for me.
Yeah.
Now for me, it's journaling is here's what I need to do, and I find I do it in those moments of high up and high down. Or low down, I guess. Yeah. Of oh, it's a great day. I'm feeling really positive about this, or I'm really troubled by something and I don't feel like I understand it yet. And so that's what journaling helps me do, is it forces me to and I physically write it because I type too fast. And so if I try to do anything electronic, it doesn't work for me. I have to write it because it makes my brain slow down and think about it. And then when I see it on the page, it's it sort of speaks to me. So it's almost like I'm discovering the thought while I'm writing it down.
Love that.
Yeah.
I love that. That's powerful.
I don't even know how to write anymore, I don't think. So.
My hand gets tired. Mine is really tired.
I need to retrain those muscles.
I do have a hack for this, though. So I teach a little bit of this when I talk about the Great Reset, but it works for anything. So if you want to focus on writing a book, losing weight, getting through, tough times, whatever it is, begin with, it's called Whoop. So if you go to Whoop My Life, I adapted something from there, but
how do you spell that?
W-H-O-O-P? Not like Whoop, there it is.
I was hoping that.
W-O-O-P.
Okay.
Yes. So the W, will. What will happen? What will you do? How will you get started? Then an O, and I put the O's on top of each other. That's just my style. So the first O is for opportunity, and the second O is for the obstacle. So then I go to the obstacle and write it out, because an opportunity is going to help me get over it. I say I always turn obstacles into opportunities, right? Mm-hmm. We turn obstacles into opportunities. And then the P is for 4 things you're going to plan to do to get you started and get you out of it. So even if I'm stuck in a rut, with an idea, I begin to whoop, and you become generative and innovative, and you It's like a rocket ship. Just get started.
I need to
gonna
try
use
that. I
that.
just drink wine and it like resets everything. I like really need to try
it up while drinking wine.
Journaling.
We got
I'm taking all kinds of things home today. I am so
I'll be the
excited.
designated driver. Full circle.
I get stuck on something. I'm like, drink tonight, do that tomorrow. That's fine.
At Amplify, we've eliminated all banking fees, so you can feel free to use your magic tap whenever you want. Thank you. No fees equals more good deeds. Amplify.
We would like to thank our community sponsors. Zate. Skip all the extra steps and get to the point. A new way to date in Austin. Download the app in the App Store today at Zate app. Dave's Ultimate Automotive. With 6 locations, there's sure to be one near you. Visit davesultimateautomotive.com and become a part of Dave's family today. Elite Marquee and Events. Offering high-quality LED marquee letters to help create an unforgettable celebration. Like the decorations at our events? That's them. At Elite Marquee Austin. Obigo. Auto repair quotes to your phone. Download the app today. Obigo. Obiigo. At Obigo Austin. Download the app to your phone today. Well, thank you so much, you guys. I learned so much, and I had so much fun. Like, I hope that we can all go to happy hour or brunch or whatever.
The pool and 2 pieces.
Like, this
We
was
already
so
have a
much
plan.
fun. Yes. Well, thank you so much, and I hope to have y'all back sometime. Please, please, please. You guys are just the best.
So much fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us today on the Women of Austin podcast. A new episode premieres twice a month right here on the Women of Austin channel. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notifications bell so you never miss an episode. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at women_of_Austin. My name is Mindy Hofman. I hope you'll join us for our next episode of the Women of Austin podcast.
Light it up, light it up.